All right, all right. I hear you. But let me ask everybody here a question. How many of the people making these rules have ever spent a winter night homeless? How many have ever stood in a grocery store with food stamps in their pocket and nowhere to cook the food they were allowed to buy? I have 3 years. 3 years without a home. 3 years trying to survive. So Congressman Brandon Gill, if you're listening, I've got a question for you. You spent a whole hearing talking about Coca-Cola. You asked whether Americans need Coke to survive. Fair question. No, nobody needs Coke to survive. But here's the question nobody seems to be asking. Why can a homeless man buy cold food with food stamps, but not a hot bowl of soup? Why can't he buy a loaf of bread, but not a cooked chicken? Why can't he buy ingredients, but not a meal he can actually eat? Because whoever wrote that rule wasn't sleeping outside. And let's talk about these so-called healthy choices. Everybody says, eat healthy. Buy fresh produce. Make better choices. Have you seen the prices lately? A bag of organic groceries can cost more than a working family can afford. A head of organic lettuce can cost more than a fast food meal. When you're broke, hungry, and trying to survive, healthy food starts looking like a luxury item. That's the reality. Not the talking points, not the headlines. Reality. Let's go, Brandon. No. Let's go, Brandon. No, listen. This isn't about Brandon. This isn't about Democrats. This isn't about Republicans. This is about people, real people, people trying to survive, people working, people struggling, people sleeping in cars, people sleeping under bridges, people trying to feed their kids. And while politicians argue about soda, those people are still hungry. So here's my message. Stop worrying about whether somebody bought a Coke. Start worrying about whether they ate it all. Fix the hot food rule. Make healthy food affordable. Give people dignity.
Give people options.
Give people a chance.
Give people a chance.
Because the real problem isn't a bottle of soda. The real problem is a system that makes survival harder than it has to be. Let's go, Brandon! Yeah! Let's go, Brandon! No! No!
Let's go, Brandon!
Yeah! The cold food rule! Cold food rule! Yeah. They rolled in. Yeah. 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 They rolled in with a mission and a camera a crew acting like a can of Coke was the nation's biggest issue. 40 million people trying just to make ends meet, but he's interrogating soda while they're worried about heat. Got 100 billion problems stacked up to the sky, but he's asking if a Pepsi helps a person stay alive. Round and round the witness stand, same question every day, like he found a secret villain in the beverage aisle at Target. Everybody's hungry, everybody's broke, but the congressman declared war on a bottle of Coke. Hey Brandon, what's the plan? Fighting sugar while the house is burning, man. People need groceries, people need hope. You built a whole hearing around a Diet Coke. Coke committee, case closed, mystery solved. You found the criminal mastermind, a 2-liter at Walmart. Yeah, 2-liter at Walmart. Do Americans need Coca-Cola? He asked it 10 times more. Like the answer held the key to unlock the treasury door. The witness kept saying, hunger's what I fight, but he wanted a soda confession before the end of the night. Got farmers, got prices, got rent through the roof, but we're cross-examining Sprite like it's organized crime-proof. Breaking news at 11, Congress saves the day. A can of cherry cola was taken away. Meanwhile, real life keeps knocking at the front door again, but we're busy counting bubbles while the budget's wearing thin. Hey Brandon, what's the plan? Fighting sugar while the house is burning, man. People need groceries, people need hope. Not another hearing about a bottle of Coke. Coke committee, hero of the age, battling soft drinks from the congressional stage. Some folks fight hunger, some folks fight debt, some folks fight inflation, or at least they haven't yet. But if history remembers that hearing someday, it'll say, he really showed that Pepsi who's boss. Case closed. Case closed. Three winters. 3 years sleeping wherever I could find shelter. Food stamps in my pocket. Snow on my boots, and somewhere in Washington, they're arguing about Coca-Cola. Tell me again how that's the biggest problem. Sleeping on the sidewalks, trying to survive, watching temperatures dropping, just thankful I'm alive. Food card in my wallet, a few dollars to my name, but every freezing evening played the same old game. Could buy a loaf of bread, buy a pack of meat, but nowhere I could cook it, nowhere warm to eat. The snow was falling sideways, the wind cut through my coat, but Congress found a villain, a bottle of Coke. They talk from heated offices, they talk from leather chairs, but the street don't care for speeches. The street don't care, who cares? I didn't need a lecture, I didn't need a vote, I needed something hot to eat. I wasn't worried about Coke. You can count every soda, you can chase every smoke, but I was freezing in the darkness. I wasn't worried about Coke. Somebody asked the question, should Snap buy sugary drinks? Meanwhile, a homeless veteran is shivering shivering by the rink. Single moms are struggling, rent keeps climbing high. Working folks are choosing which bill they're gonna buy, but the hearing keeps on rolling, round and round it goes. Like America's biggest crisis is what's inside a soda. I would've traded anything for soup that winter night, instead of standing hungry under parking lot lights. The people making policies never saw that road, never carried all they owned inside a single load. I didn't need a lecture, I didn't need a vote, I needed something hot to eat. I wasn't worried about Coke. You can count every soda, you can chase every smoke, but I was freezing in the darkness. I wasn't worried about Coke. Maybe let the homeless buy a hot meal from the store. Maybe ask the people who have lived through it before. Maybe hunger isn't solved by another TV fight. Maybe common sense matters on a freezing winter night. You can debate nutrition, you can argue all day long, but when you're cold and homeless, theory starts sounding wrong. 3 years in the cold, 3 years learning quickly how survival really works. No kitchen, no microwave, no stove, no place to call my own, just a food cart and a question: why can't I buy cold food but not something warm? Why are we arguing over soda while people sleep in storms? I didn't need a lecture, I didn't need a vote, I needed something hot to eat. I wasn't worried about Coke, I wasn't looking for luxury, I wasn't asking for gold, just one hot meal on a winter night to fight away the cold. You can count every soda, you can chase every smoke, but I survived 3 years on the street, and I wasn't worried about Coke. You wanna talk about hunger? Talk to somebody who's been hungry. You wanna talk about homelessness? Talk to somebody who slept outside. Because when the temperature drops below freezing, the argument isn't about Coca-Cola. The argument is whether you're gonna make it through the night.
They told me I could buy food. What they didn't tell me was where I was supposed to cook it. No kitchen, no stove, no microwave, no home, just a plastic card and a rule written by somebody who never spent a night outside. Stamps in my pocket, snow falling from the sky, standing in the grocery aisle, wondering Lunch meat and cheese, things that look good on paper, but not in 30-degree freeze. Could smell the hot chicken, could smell the soup nearby, could see it sitting ready, but the rule said not tonight. The register said no, the cashier shook her head. So I walked back out into the cold with crackers instead. The people make the policies, the people write the laws, but sometimes common sense gets lost between the lines and clauses. That's the cold food rule, written nice and neat. You can buy the ingredients, but not a ready meal to eat. The cold food rule, tell me how that's fair, when the only thing you're missing is a kitchen that isn't there. The shelter's full tonight, the church basement's closed. The wind is cutting sideways, the temperature's below. The card still has a balance, the account still has some funds, but somehow that don't matter when the sun goes down. They say it's for nutrition, they say it's for control, but policy don't warm your hands when you're standing in the cold. I wasn't looking for luxury, I wasn't looking for steak. I would have settled for a bowl of soup and a warm place for a break. Sometimes the difference between surviving and defeat isn't money in your pocket, it's access to heat. That's the cold food rule, written nice and neat. You can buy the ingredients, but not a ready meal to eat. The cold food rule, tell me how that's fair, when the only thing you're missing is a kitchen that isn't there. Ask the homeless veteran, ask the woman in her car, ask the man beneath the overpass sleeping under stars. Ask the people living it, what would help them most. You might hear less paperwork, you might hear more housing, you might hear one hot meal. It's amazing what people learn when they actually ask. So I'm speaking for myself, not from some committee room, not from some government shelf. I've lived the contradiction, I've walked the frozen miles, I've stood beside the deli counter, staring for a while. Food I couldn't purchase, though it sat within my reach. A lesson in bureaucracy no textbook ever teaches. That's the cold food rule, written nice and neat. You can buy the ingredients, but not a ready meal to eat. The cold food rule, maybe someday we'll see that helping people survive shouldn't be this complicated. To be the cold food rule, that's what they call it now. But if you've ever lived outside, you know exactly how it sounds. The card worked, the system worked, the policy worked, everything worked, except the person trying to survive. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the people writing the rules should spend one winter night living under them. Living under them.